Hey guys, how's it going? Fluffy Man here with the pizza department. Today I'm going to do a guide on how to set up a base within 10 days capable of sustainable food production. So you can go into the mid game focusing more on your base building rather than your squad management all over the map. I find the mid phase more enjoyable if I can just worry about my base and not the squad, so I'd like to help you guys with that. So what this guide will do for you, it's going to provide you with a good starting location. It's going to help you cut down a little on unnecessary micro. It's going to provide you with a sustainable food production, and you're going to be able to build a base capable of expansion. So the first thing we're going to need to do for this guide is to find a sustainable city. So I'm going to recommend the Kansas State Capitol for your starting location. It's going to put you right at the Capitol building if you just type it in at the top of your city finder there. I like this city because it's got a good selection of medium-sized buildings. There's a few awkward buildings you can use for tearing down, and it's going to give us a great starting area. Also, it does come with a good area full of trees we can utilize for the early and mid game. So when looking for a place to put your headquarters, you're going to want to find an area with a lot of growth potential. So this is the block we're going to use here, and the reason I picked this is there's going to be a few reasons. The first being it's got a lot of good sized buildings that we can utilize to make strong production chains. It's also got that building shaped like a C we can tear down to get some resources and build farmland over it. It's going to be perfect for that. And also, it's going to be easy to build around and get a defendable position. Also, lots of trees. So this building right here is going to be our base. The reason for this is going to be a pretty big building, so we can upgrade it later down the road as needed. What that will do is provide us more storage, give us more squad resources and living quarters for our population so they don't become dissatisfied with us. It's close to the trees, and it's also fairly close to these other buildings we're going to utilize for other constructions, and it's going to be right next to where I plan on putting my farmland. So overall, this is a good location to build our HQ. So on the first day, prioritize gathering food with your squads, building a storage and farming wood. This will provide us with early resources to survive and focus on base development. What I'm going to go ahead and do to do this, I will create 3 squads to begin the looting process. The rest of my workers will build the storage and then start chopping the trees. So for the 3 squads, keep them looting close to the base, preferably in the first block because we're going to end up using all these buildings eventually. You can control left click to select multiple groups and then hold shift and right click on all the buildings you want your units to loot. It will set a loot order for you. So doing this will eliminate the need for us to macro those units any further while they're looting this. Once they finished, we'll need to set them new loot paths, but now we don't need to mess with them unless a horde comes or nighttime hits and we need to do something with them. So during nighttime, something you can do that will help quite a bit. Keep a squad back at the base to take care of any hordes that come. You can pivot them between buildings as needed. And then your other 2 squads, we've pretty well finished looting our block, save 1 building. So I'm going to send them out to continue looting so I can keep our food supplies up. I'm going to queue them together on the same buildings and keep them together so they're still bringing us in food and they're also able to fight off any hordes that come. During the second day, the main goals are going to be to send 1 squad out to loot a book. All you need to do is find a bookstore, you'll notice it with the little book symbol above the building. That way we can get our research center constructed the next day. Also, you're going to have your workers finish off collecting the wood from the prior day and starting to tear down a building for metal and brick. In this case, we're going to go ahead and use this C building at the base since I plan on using that for farmland anyway. And the other two squads, you want to make sure to continue utilizing shift right click and making them loot buildings and clusters. That way you're not having to macro each and every building. This will cut down a lot on spending time bouncing back and forth. Something to note, while your squad's out gathering some books so you can build your research center, you'll usually find a car on the way since you do have to go a little ways. Make sure to grab the car on the way back. If you don't find a car, don't worry about it. You probably will find one later. It's not a big priority right now. So during night, always make sure to check around to make sure your squads are okay, especially having them far out. Here I noticed something interesting. There was an enemy squad nearby and a couple infected. Go into that building and find them, so we get to see them get killed off by the infected. Because we were paying attention, now we know where we can find a couple guns. So for day 3, our priorities are going to be getting a research center built, having our units deconstruct that C building. We need to start getting the resources to build up our base, and 2 of our squads are going to be out looking for food in our nearby buildings. And 1 of our squads, we're going to need to either find a car first, and if you already have a vehicle, just go ahead and start looking for more books. But vehicle first, book second for this. We really need that travel at this point, so I can get around the map as needed. And then once our research center is completed, we're going to go ahead and research the antenna so we can put down an antenna and restart recruiting. And then we're going to fully research the food chain, so once we're ready to get our food production going, it'll be producing at max efficiency. So for day 4, I like to get the food process started and recruit process started. So at the start of day 4, we've got our tower being built. It can take 1 to 2 days depending on when you get it put down. And then I'm also going to get 5 farms built. That way I can start getting food produced so I can get our food production going. And as a bonus, I'm going to make sure the trees and the light poles around our base are going to get taken down. It's going to give us extra wood, extra metal, and make sure we can build walls later down the road. So for day 5, I've decided it's time to increase the size of our headquarters. So what I'll do, I'm going to left click the headquarters icon, and then I'm going to hold left click and drag it over our current HQ. This will let you determine the size of it. You can go until the building is fully green, but we don't need all that yet, so I'm just going to only do it partially to support our population for now. So that's going to be what I'm working on today, and then I'm also going to be being on the lookout for little survivor groups. They'll be marked by yellow with machetes. If you see guns in red, don't approach them. They will fight you unless you are comfortable with it and want to try and get their guns. But look for the little yellow guys with machetes, and you can invite them back to your base and they'll join. Also make sure you're hitting the radio icon at the bottom right that says push to talk and hit an invite so you get an even higher chance of recruiting new people. As we're going through this video, just a heads up, my nighttime strategy hasn't changed. I'm keeping 1 at the base and 2 outside looting together. I'm trying to maximize the amount of supply I can get while also keeping my base safe. So for day 6, continue to have your 3 squads looting for food, and then you're also going to want to get a barn and a cookhouse built. Both of them, you want to put them in buildings where they can have at least 20 employees so it can feed a few hundred people. Prioritize building the barn first so we can start turning our crops into meat and fertilizer. This will allow us to produce more later down the road. Cookhouse second because we can get our food cooking later on. Right now, with all the canned food, will be okay. So for days 7, 8, 9, and 10, it really starts to ease up quite a bit for you. All you're doing at this point is finishing up your barn, you're finishing up your cookhouse, and you're starting to build your population so your squads are, while they're out and about, make sure to look over at them every now and then, look for these yellow squads on the map, get them to head back to your base. We're at the point into the game where food production's about to take off, and all we need is the population to make that happen. So fast forwarding to day 12, just show you what we have. We've got an operational barn producing meat and fertilizer with less than half employees, and then we got a cookhouse producing food off of the meat and 1 wood. So the barn will be providing them with the meat and the plots with fertilizer so they can grow additional crops. With this layout, all you'll need to do is just add additional employees to the barn and then the cookhouse, and your food production will be fine to hold you off until about a population of 250. So from here, you can focus on base development. You won't need to sweat sending your squads out as much. You'll still need to tear down nearby buildings to gather resources and get wood, but at this point, it's going to feel more like a city builder with defense elements to it. You can really focus on getting that base built up. You're not all over the map making sure your squads are safe. You can keep them at your base. Hopefully this has helped you guys get a good foundation going into the mid to late game. If you guys like this video, please leave a like and comment. If you'd like tips on any certain aspect of the game, let me know and I can get that made as well. This has been Fluffy at the Pizza Department, and we'll see you guys in the next one.